When solving a quadratic equation, just like when we were looking at the key features, you want to make sure to identify the form that you're in. So are you in standard form, factored form, vertex form? And then for these, again, be sure to distinguish the difference between x-intercepts and solutions. Remember that for x-intercepts, we're going to write ordered pairs, x comma 0. The y value is equal to 0. Solutions are the exact same situation. You're just going to write your answer a little bit differently, where you write your answer as x equals a set of two numbers. So let's start with one here that we have in standard form, but instead of, actually, yeah, let's just go ahead. Let's do number 24 here. We're going to set y equal to 0, and then we're going to factor. Remember, I need two numbers that multiply to -10 and add up to 9. So I'm going to play around with my 1 and my 10 and my 2 and my 5. Because I want to add up to a positive 9, that means my bigger numbers should be positive and my smaller numbers are going to be negative. So which pair adds up to 9? We're going to choose that -1 and that positive 10. So when I factor, I look like this: x minus 1, x plus 10. And then I am actually going to solve. So the first thing you're going to do is set both of your factors equal to 0 and solve. X minus 1 tells me that x equals positive 1. And my factor x plus 10, when I subtract 10 from both sides, tells me that x equals -10. So again, if you were solving, if I wanted solutions, we would write it like this: -10 and 1, but we were asked for x-intercepts, so we're going to write -10 comma 0 and 1 comma 0. The process is exactly the same when you're solving for the solutions, but you don't have to write your answers as ordered pairs. Now, when you are in vertex form, something similar to this, remember the process is slightly different, where we're going to isolate whatever is being squared. So the first thing I want to do here is add 3 to both sides. So x minus 4 quantity squared is equal to 16. And once what's being squared is all by itself, then I can take the square root on both sides. Just be very careful to remember that after the square and the square root undo each other, the square root of any number then is the positive or negative value of it. In this case, we're equal to 4 because 16, the square root of 16 is positive 4 because 4 times 4 is 16. But the square root of 16 is also -4 because -4 times -4 is also positive 16. So I add 4 to both sides, just like I would for any equation, and x is equal to plus or minus 4 plus 4, which leaves me with two equations to deal with. X equals positive 4 plus 4, and x equals -4 plus 4. So my solutions are 8 and 0. So for this particular equation, x equals 0 and 8. I just like to put them in order. Now, just be careful when you're working with numbers that are not perfect squares. For this one, there's no moving around that we need to do before we take our square roots. The parentheses are already by themselves, so we can take the square root of both sides. But what that looks like then is, since the squares and the square roots undo each other, we're left with x minus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of 24. Just be very careful how you put this in the calculator. X is equal to plus or minus the square root of 24 plus 3. That plus 3 has to be outside the parentheses. The other option is to evaluate the square root of 24. Second, x squared, 24. Remember, second, x squared, and then your value is 4.898, so 4.90. So x equals positive 4.90 plus 3, and x equals negative 4.90 plus 3.